Hello everyone, this is your instructor Jacinto Gardea. I'm here at the writinggames.com website, which is the home for my Race to Write writing game. In this game page, you can either create a game by inputting the information here. You can join a game that someone else has created, or you can practice the game by yourself, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I start the practice mode and I choose the level of play, which is going to be the highest level. I'm going to time my practice to 8 minutes, and I'm going to press the green button, which in turn takes me to the writing topics page. The game provides players with a randomly selected topic. These are samples. This page is divided into 3 sections. The first section is where the players are listed, and the third section is the information on the session. This is one player, level 4, 8 minutes, and I have an edit round that I'll be explaining. And so I press the ready button, and I'm going to be doing what I want you to do when you input one of your assessment compositions. And so I'm going to ignore the explanatory writing button, the explanatory writing topic, which is this one, and so I'm going to go directly to a composition that I have already written, and you have seen it as well. So I'm going to be copying and pasting each of my sentences. The first one is not a complete sentence as such, but I'll be pasting it. And every time I paste a sentence, I press the check button. You can also press the return button on your keyboard. And so the game reproduces what you inputted, and it turns the words into their appropriate grammar designation, including the punctuation mark. So I'm going to add this to my round submission palette, and when I do that, the interjection button, as well as the exclamation mark button, they kind of disappear. They're still there, but they blank out. So I go then and get the next sentence. It has a contraction, I see, and so I copy it and I paste it. This time I'll press the return button. The return button does the same thing. And so here are the words recreated and colored according to their grammar designations. I'm going to get 70 points for this sentence, and so I add it, and more buttons disappear. One of the buttons, for example, is an adjective, and the game has adjectives divided into 4 types. The traditional adjective, the ed adjectives that are very important to know about, the ing adjectives that end in ing, and other past participle adjectives. The thing about these adjectives is that sometimes students confuse them for verbs, and so I felt it was very important to list the 4 types of adjectives. Okay, so I'll go and get my next sentence, which is a short one. I copy, I paste, and I'll click the check button this time, and I'll be getting 20 points for this sentence. So I added a few more squares disappear. I go to my next sentence, which is this one. I copy it, I paste it, and I'll press the return button, which is the same thing. And for this sentence, I'll be getting 120 points. So I add that to my round submission palette. A few more squares disappear, and I go to my next sentence. And this is the next sentence. I copy it, I paste it, and check it. And for this sentence, I'll be getting 30 points. So I add it, and I go to my next sentence. And it is this one. So I copy it, I paste it, press the return button, and for this sentence, I only get 30 points. And the reason is that I have used words whose grammar designation has already, I have already been given credit for those, and the punctuation marks as well. So I only received a few points for that sentence. Okay, so I go to my next sentence, and that's this one. I copy it, paste it, check it, add it, okay, and go to my next sentence, which is a longer sentence. And I actually want to pause at this sentence because the game is based on Google's SyntaxNet, which is an open source neural network framework which functions in conjunction with Parsley McParface. These are powerful systems, but they are not perfect. They run at about 95% accuracy. So this means that race to write itself is not perfect, and occasionally will misdesignate a word. And so this is the reason why I created an edit round, so that students can have a chance to identify words that are misidentified by the game. And I'll be showing you a few of those when we get to the edit round. In the meantime, I'll continue pasting, and I'll do my last sentence, and I'll paste it and check it, and I'm gonna get only 10 points for this, and so I'll add it. And so I've put in all of my sentences. That was my composition, and I have about a minute left. So the first thing I want to tell you is that it's not so much how many sentences you put in. It's actually how many grammar components you use. And so in this composition, I did not use these grammar components. I did not use a 3-word verb. I did not use a 4-word verb. And I did not use another past participle adjective. And I did not use an ellipsis or a colon or a dash or a question mark. And so now what I want to do is I want to take a screenshot, actually 2 screenshots, before the game goes into, this is control, okay, and so now the game is going to go into the edit mode. So this is the edit mode. I have 8 minutes to check to see if the game has misidentified certain words. I don't see any mistakes in the first one. I don't see any mistakes in the second sentence. This is an article, adjective, a noun. But here I see my first mistake, the first mistake that the game has done. The game has identified this as an ed adjective, but it is not. It says, I have divided. This is a verb. So if you click on that word where there's an error made by the game, then you can identify that game correctly. And in this sentence, I don't see that. That's a preposition. That's correct. Here is a mistake. This is not a subordinating conjunction. This is a preposition. So I'm going to click on that word and go to preposition. And how the edit mode works is that every player gets to see everyone's sentences, and every player makes corrections that he or she sees as necessary. Then afterwards, all the players vote on those judgments, and a player earns points if the majority of the other players agree with the judgment that he or she has made. So I've identified two errors. Now here, this word has just been identified as a conjunctive adverb, and that too is a mistake. This is a simple adverb. A conjunctive adverb joins two complete sentences. And this is what the coordinating conjunction is doing. So this is not a conjunctive adverb. This is an adverb, just an adverb. So I'll identify it like that. This is all correct. This is not correct. That's not a main verb. This is a gerund. And so I identify that as a gerund here on the yellow. Okay, so there are no other mistakes that I see. This is a subject noun, a subordinating conjunction. It is not. The word for here is being used as a preposition, so I'll identify it as a preposition. And since there are no more other players playing, I think the game will reward me for that. That's an infinitive verb, correct. Preposition, correct. Coordinating conjunction. Actually, this is not a coordinating conjunction because there is no subject and verb. There is a subject and verb here, but that's because of this subordinating conjunction, and that makes it into a dependent clause. So after the word and, there is no independent clause like there is here. With I and I'll start. This is not a coordinating conjunction. This is a simple conjunction, and I'm going to put it as a simple conjunction here, like that. Okay, anticipating is not an ed adjective, an ing adjective, because it's not describing a noun over here. This is a gerund, a noun. It's being used as a noun, so I'm going to put it as a gerund. It goes with this preposition. Okay, so in this sentence, I don't see. I think possibly I'll use next. This is an adverb, not so much an adjective, and so I'm going to put this as an adverb. Okay, all right. Now, students, they're not going to, at the beginning, identify a bunch of errors. They'll begin slowly when they see a verb a word identified as a verb that's obviously not a verb, they'll begin slowly. And so they'll use more of their skills to identify words correctly that the game has misidentified. And so, as I say, the game will run about 90% inaccuracy, and we can use those errors to our advantage to identify them and to earn points by doing that. This is correct. This is conjunctive adverb. It's got a semicolon, and there is a dependent clause here, and a subject and a verb. So this is correct. This is correct here, a two-word verb with a helping verb. So there are a lot of things that, most of them are identified correctly, but I see the word of as a subordinating conjunction, and that is not correct. That's a preposition. So I'm going to identify that as a preposition. Okay. So let's see. Here's another preposition. So I'm going to identify that as a preposition. Like that. Now here, this is a subordinating conjunction. The when. That's correct. This is correct. And subject noun, adverb, verb, object noun, infinitive, article, object noun, preposition, article, noun, comma, subject pronoun is. So, and this is a subordinating conjunction. So here I don't see any problem. And so these are these two are adjectives. The underlying skeletal structure, this is correct, of phrases and clauses. Simple conjunction, yes. So I have identified, I think, 9 or 10 mistakes in these sentences that the game has misidentified, and I believe I'll get credit for them. Because there are no other players to vote on those. And so we are running down to 10 seconds, and then we'll get the total score. And there is something else that I need to do, which you yourself are going to be doing. So here is my total score. I think I had 390, and now I have 420. I didn't get quite 500, but I got close to it. Now, here's the important thing. This is a download icon, and I press on it, and I'm going to get all my sentences downloaded, and I can open them, and here are my sentences. Now, I'm going to highlight them, copy them. I'm going to do that, because this is basic text. I want to put these sentences in a Word document. Because I'm going to be sending it to my instructor. And so I paste them, and here are my sentences. It's got a kind of two symbols that are kind of weird, but here are my sentences, and I'm going to save this document. I'm going to save it and name it Assessment 1 Composition. My connection lost. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to save this in my IPCNA class. It's saved. And so now I want to go to my email. I make a new window, and I go to my email, and I'm going to compose an email, in this case to myself, because I'm the instructor, And so and the subject is assessment 1 composition. So I'll just insert that below. You could write, dear Mr. Gardea, here's my assessment 1 composition, and you attach it, and assessment 1 composition is here, so I attach it to the email. And I also want to attach the 2 screenshots that I took, so my instructor can see which I go to the desktop, so my instructor can see which grammar components I used and which grammar components I did not use. I have the last 2 screenshots are these, so I'm going to identify them and open them. And I'll send this email to my instructor like that. And so here is the email. I open it, and you can see the 2 screenshots that I took, and you can see my assessment 1 composition that I can download. And so you will be doing this with the composition that you are going to write ahead of time, describing our first day of class. All right, very good.